9 Plus Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Baseball family, welcome back to another episode of the Baseball Together podcast. After a significant absence, which I apologize for, I am back. And Brad is here with me tonight. Today, this morning, whatever
time. Welcome back, Brig. It's great to have you.
Thanks, man. Mon frere.
Mon frere, yeah.
Super pumped to be here, actually. I am. Listen, baseball family, we have a boatload to cover in this episode.
Oh my gosh, so much.
It's so good. We thought about maybe doing a timer, but we're just going to see if we can hang, okay? So we're going to hit you with current events. There's a lot to discuss. Baseball is starting, okay? Everybody starts reporting on the first. Yes. And it's the best.
So excited. So happy.
I have a question for you, Brad, when you get the chance.
Okay.
Or when I spring it on you. That's a tease. Here we go. Then we're going to catch me up. And then we are going to finish out this segment, this episode of the podcast with a topic that we didn't know was as near and dear to our hearts until the time
until it was brought up.
We found out. Okay, I'm rusty. Let's just plow forward.
Do it.
Brad.
Yeah.
Baseball is beginning. Okay. July 23 or 24 will be opening day, and we are going to have a 60-game season. Now, obviously, that is significantly reduced from a normal season. They're trying to jam it all into a regular chronological or calendar time frame. And what are your thoughts, first of all, on not extending beyond October?
I don't think they should. I don't think they should extend beyond October, even if they bring everybody to like a neutral site for the World Series or anything.
Yeah.
Because they should try to start next season as normal as possible.
Yeah.
Because who knows what's going to happen after next season? We brought it up before talking about the expiration of the CBA and doomsday scenario. We don't have baseball in 2022. So
unacceptable.
It is. So we should try to get as much of a season in next year as possible. And I feel like the off season is short as it is. You don't want to shorten it at all. As nice as fun as it would be to have the World Series on Thanksgiving,
or Christmas, as was previously proposed.
Right? Yeah. I don't think they should. They should stick to where they're at, and at that point you're going to be competing with NFL for ratings.
Very likely, yes.
Possibly the NBA, even though I don't think they're even going to be starting until Christmas. It sounds like,
right.
But still, like. The NFL is a juggernaut. That's tough. That is really tough to compete with, especially you get into October, November, things start to really, or November, especially December, things really heat up.
Yeah,
that's tough to compete with on ratings, and you don't want to go there.
I agree.
As baseball, so no, I think they're doing it the right way. October, end in October. Do it.
Look, I agree with you. I had different reasons, but they don't matter anymore because you've so artfully articulated yours.
No, give me your reason. Tell me why.
No, I refuse. We're moving on, Brad.
All right.
So we're going to have 60 games this season. The way it's going to be broken down is 40 games against those in your division, those teams, and then 20 of those games will be interleague play, and I think that's a pretty even balance. I kind of like the split.
Yeah.
I think that by doing 20 interleague games, though, we're going to see a greater amount of diversity in the teams that our personal teams face, the ones we watch, right? And that'll be interesting to see.
It will be, and it's not just random interleague either. It's the West will play the West, Central will play the Central, the East will play the East. That's
right.
It's a very structured. They're really trying to limit travel here. And the advantage in this case truly goes to the AL and NL East because they don't ever have to leave their time zones.
That's right.
The Central's going to have a little bit of travel, but the West, man, Gosh,
Here you go.
Houston,
Just-
and Arlington.
Can
Get
I
outta
push
here.
that soapbox underneath you a little more
Please
firmly?
do. Please do. Because it's absurd.
I'll spot you.
Golly. Texas needs to be in the Central. Do some realigning. Add some more teams. I don't know what you got to do, but get Texas out of the West. Sorry. I know you're in New York, and everything west of the Mississippi is west, but, man,
Yeah,
that's
true.
middle America, man. Come on.
It is Middle America.
Sheesh, kabash.
Houston should be considered Middle America.
Yeah. They're so far east in Texas. It doesn't make any sense to me geographically.
I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you.
Makes me
let's
so
hit
angry.
some rules. Let's hit some rules really quick. There's some rules that everybody needs to be prepared for, and I know it's getting beat heavily, so we probably can go through this fairly quickly. But the universal DH will be implemented for this season. 2020, we'll see a universal DH. Doesn't matter what league you're in. So sorry, Mad Bomb and some of your others. Lester. 3-batter minimum. So the rule now states, and we've talked about this before, but just as a recap, that players, relievers, specifically relieving pitchers, they're going to come in and they're going to have to face a minimum of 3 batters or retire a side or get injured. Those are their options.
Yep.
That's it. Otherwise, they got to stick it out.
Yeah.
No position players to pitch. There's been
no. What it was, remember they had that rule that they were going to implement this year?
Yeah.
That rule is out the window. Position players can pitch as needed.
See, and I was getting to it. I was going to say the position pitch.
Sorry.
It's okay. You covered it. We'll move on, Brad. Any game that is suspended for any reason, weather or otherwise, will be restarted. They will not start over. They're going to initiate play from the point in the game where it was suspended.
Yeah, and that's specifically for games that don't meet the minimum criteria of a game, right? Of like 5 innings.
5 innings. Yeah.
If they play the 5 innings, whatever, then they're fine. It can be a complete game. But if it's like 3.5 innings and they're suspended, they'll start from the 3.5 innings. They won't start over like they typically would otherwise.
Well said. That is a wonderful caveat. Okay. The trade rules have shifted by about 30 days. Mm-hmm. That's the only real major difference here. And then the only thing worth mentioning past that is that if you're going to trade somebody, the only people you can trade from or for is the 60-man roster, which we're going to get into in just a minute. But the pool of available players to barter and trade with is severely limited to 60 players this time. Everybody else stays with the club they're with the franchise they're with, and if a player moves from the 60, they have to be on the 60-man roster on the team they're traded to. Okay, Brad, tell us about roster sizes, since that was a perfect segue.
So like you said, there's going to be the 60-man roster, which is basically going to be used like the 40-man roster has been in years past.
Yeah.
But the difference is you cannot bring anybody onto your squad unless it's a trade, or I guess you can. You can replace somebody on the 60-man roster with somebody who's not on it. But I think that's only through trade. Anyway, so you've got the 60-man roster, but the actual active roster starting the first day of the season is going to be 30. The other 30 players are going to be away at another training facility, basically like extended spring training, but in the city where the team is, so that they can have those players come in should there be an injury, a positive COVID test, anything,
whatever. Yep.
So 30 players in the clubhouse for 2 weeks. Then it goes down to 28 players for another 2 weeks, and then after those 2 weeks, it goes down to 26 for the rest of the season, which is what was going to be the standard for this season,
right?
With the new rules. So that ends up being pretty normal. They're going to have something that's called a taxi squad. Okay.
Yep.
Now, what a taxi squad is 3 players that are on the 60-man roster who will travel with the team so that in case there's an injury or there is a positive COVID test, then they can just go right in and take that player's place right away. One player on the taxi squad has to be a catcher. So, like for the Mariners, I saw I saw yesterday or today, I believe it was, that Cal Raleigh is going to be on their taxi squad. He's going to be their taxi catcher. He is not a guy who was probably ever going to see any big league time this year unless there were significant injuries at the big league level. But this year, he'll probably get a chance.
Yeah.
Because, and the thing that's kind of cool about the taxi catcher is that they're not just off. They're not just off away from the team like everybody else on the taxi squad is. They're actually with the team so they can work in the bullpen with the pitchers.
That's
so
exactly
I thought
right.
that was pretty cool. That's something they're doing just so those guys can stay sharp and keep the chemistry with the pitchers because you've got to do that. So
yeah. Now I wish
they were
I
thinking
think
with that one.
The Yankees are wishing they'd kept Austin Romine, poor dumb buggers.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, for real. But to Austin Romine's credit, he'll have significantly more opportunity in Detroit or wherever he is now. I think he's still in Detroit, right? Anyway, this season, it's very exciting because I freaking love Austin Romine. He's my man.
I do like the Romine brothers. Austin particularly, I think he's awesome.
He's awesome.
He's a good player.
So let's talk about COVID-19 because that's still a thing. In case you didn't know, still happening.
Yeah,
maybe even spiking. Okay, depending on
where you live.
Where you are. Yeah, that's right. So baseball has gone to great lengths to facilitate the safety of their players and the staff. Anybody participating on the field and off the field, but during the games. So if you're on the bench, right, you will no longer be sitting in the dugout. You'll be sitting in the stands 6 feet apart. That's a number of seats, right? I think, what is it, 3 or 4 minimum seats apart? Something like that.
I would do, honestly, I'd do 4 seats to be safe.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think 3 seats is probably it, but yeah.
Probably not going to cut it. So they're going to sit a number of seats apart, each player, and then when they're called up to start, warming up or whatever it is, it's going to be very different. I'm really excited to see that sort of transition period, those exchanges, how much sooner they're going to need to call guys in, what sort of warm-up that will, bring about. I don't know. I'm really interested to see what that looks like. Every player they'll be testing every other day, like the swab, the test. And if a player tests positive one time, they must then test negatively twice before they're allowed back into any facility at all. Yeah. Not even the off-site training facility where the remainder of the 60-man is stationed and training. None of that.
I do think that's smart, though.
I agree
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean,
nothing wrong with it.
It sounds heavily precautious, and it is. I mean, that's the point.
And they need to be. They need to be because we saw how fast everything spread at the beginning, and then now with guys working out. I mean, it seems like there's a ton of positive tests, and even the NBA released a statistic the other day that 16 out of 302 tested players were tested positive.
Jeez. Well,
which is consistent with 5%.
Not to mention here where I am, Clemson football. There's a whole bunch of football players at Clemson that are testing positive right now, and it's madness. So
I think LSU quarantined a bunch of their guys because of a nightclub outbreak, and it's insane. It's madness.
It's bad news bears, if you'll pardon the reference. Okay.
Yeah,
it was terrible. Okay, so here we go. We got baseball jokes. There will be no spitting of any kind. No dip, no seeds, nothing.
I think they can chew gum, but I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if it's put it in the wrapper and then put it in the trash. We've had
players come out and say, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. And they I don't know that they intentionally plan to violate this rule, but they expect it to be to themselves anyway to be in violation, and I think this is going to be a really interesting one for.
Well, you think about it. As baseball players, you get so used to having something in your mouth while you're playing, whether it is gum. At that point, could be dip. Maybe those guys have been dipping for 15 years while they've been playing baseball.
Very likely.
Or eating sunflower seeds. I don't know how I would handle the sunflower seed thing. That'd be tough.
It would be super tough. Yeah, I don't know. But what I'm interested in is how MLB is going to enforce that one. Okay.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's an automatic out.
Yeah. Strike two. Somebody in the No, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the penalty is if somebody's spitting.
Yeah, so we're going to see. That's pretty interesting. And then everybody will have a temperature check twice every day. That's it. That's the COVID stuff that you're probably wondering about. So the last thing I will say about this season is that we've not heard any, or I should say it's been confirmed there will be no expanded playoff situation, which Brad and I agree is just asinine.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make any sense to me that the owners would not accept that. It's like the players are like, we'll do expanded playoffs for you so you can make back some of that money from the TV deals that you're not getting from fans. And the owners are like, no.
Everything's about money until it's about money, and then it's not about money.
It's exactly right.
Back off, okay?
Yep.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
I know.
Okay?
Yeah. Don't tell me how to make my money. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
So.
It's the most hilarious thing.
Whatever.
Anyway, I can't believe
so
this.
weird.
I was telling Brad, and I was going to try to avoid this, but Brad, we have just a minute left, and I'm going to say this, okay? I'm going to publicly announce that I demand Rob Manfred's resignation.
I second that motion. Maybe we can should we start a change.org?
Yes!
Start a petition?
Yes! Okay.
Get that sent out.
I see you.
I like that. Because I don't want him negotiating the new CBA.
That's what I'm saying.
Because we may never have baseball again.
Ever.
If he's trying to negotiate the new CBA.
Yes.
Because,
No, not okay.
No, and I will give him this. He did say the right thing this week. He said we've got to be better for our fans, which I'm like, yeah, hello, okay. Of course you do. That's a no-brainer.
Almost
but the fact that he actually came out and said it.
I know, but who told him to say it?
Listen,
who told him to say it? And
probably Bob Costas.
That's exactly right. Or Joe Torre's like, listen.
Yeah.
All right, I've been managing clubhouses for a really long time. And it's not different with public relations. It's not. Anyway.
It's the exact same approach.
Freak.
Apologize to the people.
Just be humble.
Yep.
You still can be in charge if you're humble.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back when Brad's going to catch me up on everything I missed.
That's right.
No matter which ballpark you're at, you want to rep your team. Now you can with 9+ Us. Welcome to the Big City Series. With every design available in your team's colors, you can fit in with the home crowd or stand out on the road. Either way, we have the colors you crave. Shop the Big City Series and find designs that rep your favorite baseball podcast, cheer from the cheap seats, and much more. Shop the Big City Series only at 9plusus.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. So Brig took golly, what was 6 weeks?
Yeah, man.
Yes. I'm just giving you a hard time. No, it was 6 weeks though. You were gone for reals though.
Yeah, for real, today. It was a lot.
It was a long time. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, really. Everything is fine.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. That's what I tell myself every day. It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine.
It'll be okay.
But we do have some catching up to do because there were a couple of things that were brought up on the podcast in his absence that he was kind of he texted me after basically scolding me and slapping my wrist for saying things. And I wasn't there to yell at you. Why are you saying these things?
I put some of them in the comments on the YouTube channel.
It's true. You did. Yeah. I could tell when you were at certain spots as those comments were popping up.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But so we're going to get caught up a little bit. And I completely failed. I was so just enamored with the failure of Major League Baseball to get anything done, any kind of negotiating done during that time. I completely forgot to stick with the KBO. So before we get Brig caught up on any of our other meanderings and topics, let's talk about some KBO.
Dude, I'm wearing my Yagyu hat right now. Let me show the camera.
Nice.
This is one of them. We have 10 of these with the Romanized letters on the shop. This is my this is the black and I forget which team it is. I just wanted to see the black lettering. it's black lettering with red behind it. I think it's I don't know.
Is it the
KT
Twins?
Wiz
Or is
maybe? I think it's the KT Wiz. I don't remember which one. Feels like KT Wiz is right though. That's what it feels right.
Okay.
All right.
We'll say it's right.
Yeah.
Anyway. But so you can get your KBO inspired hats on the shop on 9plusus.com. Just you can go to we have a collections tab in the navigation. You just go to collections and you can search. You can find the Korean collection there, or you can just search Korea baseball or Korean. Search Korea anything.
Yeah.
In the little magnifying glass thing at the top of the window, and it will take you right to everything KBO inspired.
Can I show off the other one?
Yeah, do it.
I have my NC Dinos inspired KBO hat right here as well. It's in navy blue with the gold raised lettering and the white behind it.
Yeah.
And it is super sharp, people. It's the best. I get compliments on this all the time. People are like, "What does that say?" I'm like baseball. They say, "Well, what language is that?" I'm like, Korean. And it's just kidding, but it is Korean. It is. This is how you spell baseball in Korean, and we got it on a hat. It's very cool. That's
Very
their
cool.
NC Dinos one, which now we have to talk about.
We do, because that is our KBO team that we chose independently of one another, and somehow we ended up on the NC Dinos for our individual reasons. But anyways,
That's right.
our Dinos are the best team in the KBO by far.
Yes.
31-13 as of Friday night, June the 26th.
That's right.
4 games up over the Kaiwoom Heroes and Doosan. 4.5 games up over the Doosan Bears.
Yes, sir.
So, dude, these Dinos, they're dominating. They're so much better offensively, so much better defensively.
I know.
I think we jumped on the right bandwagon, and I'm going to see it through. I'm going to follow it all the way through the end of the season because I want a dang championship in baseball.
You need
That's
one.
why.
You need one
I do.
so bad. What did I say weeks ago when we started the KBO thing? I said, look, you'll learn. I said, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to be humbled or you're going to finally taste a championship. And I don't know which one it's going to be.
Yeah. And, with my luck, honestly, what's going to happen is they're
No, stop. Don't say it. Stop. You stop it right now. Okay? And we're moving on.
NC Dino's best team in the KBO. If you're not watching it, you should. It's a ton of fun.
It is fun.
It's a little bit different brand of baseball, and it's a good watch.
It's a great experience. And one day we're going to travel to South Korea, and we are going to go together, Brad. We're going to go watch.
And we're going to go to an NC Dinos.
That's
game.
right. That's exactly right.
Yep. That's how that's going to go down.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that Brig was yelling at me on YouTube in the comments section on YouTube, and it was because of my overrated player selection.
I'm going to go with Babe Ruth. I've got Bryce Harper at number 2. I'm going to go with Derek Jeter as my number 1.
So those were my 3 most overrated players. Yeah, I went there. I did go there. That's true.
Listen. You can't. Boo! You cannot pick Babe Ruth. You can't. He's the Sultan of SWAT.
The Colossus of Clout, the Great Bambino.
The Colossus of Clout. That wimpy deer,
I know.
bro. You
I know
cannot. It's just. God, I'm so mad at you.
Okay. But Brig. Okay.
No. No.
You really want to tell me that he would come in today's game and hit 60 home runs?
We're not talking about today's game, bro.
Okay. But that's why he's overrated. Yes, he was the best player in his era, but he's not the best player ever.
Yes.
He's not the best player
ever. He was
ever.
the best player in his era, bro. The whole thing has changed since then.
Yeah, it's been 100 years.
Everything
It's
has
been
changed.
100 years. You cannot call the best player in a sport from 100 years ago the best player in the history of the game.
I never said he was the best player in the history of the game. I'm saying he's not on the overrated list, is what
Okay.
I'm saying.
And the only reason I'm saying he's overrated is because people treat him like his game would translate to today, and it would not.
I'm not saying it
I
would.
think Babe Ruth would be
Okay.
an average to slightly above average player in today's game.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on.
You heard me. You heard me right.
You're telling me, stop it. You're telling me that Babe Ruth was not athletic enough, intelligent enough, dedicated enough, whatever you want to call it, to adapt and overcome and find ways to succeed in
Do you
today's
think
game.
he'd be a right fielder in today's game?
No,
What's-
of course he wouldn't be a right fielder
Okay,
in
how about
today's
this?
game.
Who is his comp in today's game?
Now that is a great question, and I think the only person we can I don't know, actually. That's because part of me wants to say Big Sexy, but I don't know. But that's a stature
It
thing.
is a stature thing.
That's
I will say this.
and-
I do think Babe Ruth was likely more athletic than Big Sexy. I'll give him that.
Oh, for sure.
Had to have
And
been.
for those of you that don't know, Big Sexy is Bartolo
Yes.
Colon. Okay. He for sure was more athletic than
Yes.
Colon. Not that Colon's not athletic. He absolutely
Right.
is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's doing something I
we
couldn't be
love
doing.
Bartolo
So, yeah.
Colon, okay? We will never disparage Big Sexy, not one
Right.
minute. The dude is awesome, except for the whole PED problem. But we're not going to talk about that because we still a little bit love him, okay? Here's the deal, though. It's a great question, and I think you probably posed the question to further illustrate your point that there is no comparable translation of his stature and skill into today's game.
Okay, off the cuff, two guys come to mind. Daniel Vogelbach.
I doubt it. But only as of the last, 18 months.
Well, and I'm not saying Daniel Vogelbach is a great player. I like him.
Right. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And
I see
Kyle
what you're saying.
Schwarber.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but Kyle Schwarber couldn't pitch the way the Babe could, bro.
I think anybody could
The
pitch
Babe,
back then.
the
I think
Babe
everybody
is one of the
pitched
best
back
pitchers in Red Sox history, dude.
then. Because of who he was facing.
I don't care.
And I understand he's a
We're not-
victim of his era. I understand that.
He
but you
is.
cannot
That's
treat
the
him
only problem.
like he is. I wouldn't even consider the Babe top 5 player of all time.
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying he's the top 5 player of all time.
Okay.
I'm saying he doesn't belong on the overrated list.
And that's my thing is I'm saying that he's overrated because people still treat him like he is a top 5 player. That yes, the name is hollowed because he was the greatest player of his era. He ended the dead ball
Yes.
era. I'll give him all that. But at the same time,
Oh, for sure.
you cannot call somebody that played in his time. You can't treat him like people do. People treat the Babe like he's Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was
Yeah.
by far the best player. Well, I shouldn't say by far. He was the greatest player in NBA history. And I'm a LeBron James
Ever.
fan. Now,
ever.
because his game would translate to any era
zero
and he
questions
would dominate.
asked. Yes,
And-
absolutely. And I would say, listen, I would say the same thing about Nolan Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
You could put Nolan
Yes.
Ryan into any situation on the mound, even in the dead ball era,
Oh,
even
yeah.
before they had a mound,
Yeah.
and that dude would sling just gas heat.
Yes.
Man, that he would go unhitted.
Unhitted.
I don't care. You could put him 50 years from now, and he's still going to go hitless.
It's true. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that.
So I see what you're saying. I agree with you
is
there.
that people are treating the Babe like he's the Michael Jordan of baseball, and that A is a problem for baseball, and B just is
Sure.
not true.
No,
So-
I agree with that. But what I'm arguing is that you cannot, if you remove that argument, you still cannot argue with the fact that he does not belong on the overrated player list because
Okay.
he defined decades of baseball.
Yes.
He literally, and then generations who came after him who tried to live up to what he put on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason we have home run races is because of the Babe. The reason
Yeah.
we care about swagger like standing in the box or calling a shot or whatever is because of the Bambino, bro. You cannot separate baseball from its history. We are a culture obsessed with our own history.
That is absolutely true.
Even more so than we really ever care to consider our future, as evidenced recently. And there's another Rob Manfred dig. But what I'm saying is, you cannot deny that you just can't put him on overrated player list. You can't.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
And I think it all comes down to your criteria for overrated player. Personally, with my criteria of an overrated player, he fits. Generally speaking, probably not. How's that?
All right, listen. You can't have it both ways, Brad. You can't. And you've already gone on the record. And I'm not trying to persuade you.
And I'm not trying to
prove you
recant.
wrong.
I'm not trying to recant.
It's fine. It sounds like you're a little sidestepping a little bit, which is fine. You're allowed to do that. I'm just saying he doesn't belong on the transcendent list for sure. Unless you want to heavily weight influence, then absolutely belongs on the transcendent list.
There's a league.
Sure.
There is a league named after him. I will full on say like the Babe's influence on baseball was transcendent. The fact that there is a league named after him, and the same argument that I made then was that Steph Curry has eliminated the center from the NBA, but that doesn't make him a top 5 player of all time or a transcendent player. Yes, he shoots 3-pointers better than anybody else, but there are gaps in his game that would not translate to other eras.
So, okay, let's talk transcendence. Let's just talk transcendence.
Let's talk transcendent.
Okay? Let's say we're going to include transcendence as a bullet point, as a requirement, okay? If you're going to say transcendence as a requirement, then you absolutely cannot call Derek Jeter overrated. You can't do it.
Call Derek Jeter overrated?
Yeah. Some people do.
And I did.
I know. I listened to it. I threw things. It was undignified. I may or may not have been dipping into the anger phase of my grieving process. I'm just saying.
Hey, as long as I can help you through the process.
That was a service few people could have provided as effectively as you did.
Going Babe 3, Jeter 1. Just zip right on through that anger phase, didn't you?
I just whoosh. We're just accelerating. And that's really, I'm grateful because I threw things and it was fun.
So Brig,
oh my
let's get fully caught up here because I know that you've been itching to give us your 3 most overrated players. Well, I don't know if itching is the way to go, but you're going to give us 3 overrated players.
Yeah, and I'm going to do it strategically.
Okay.
Because why would I do it any
That's
other way?
right.
So, okay. First, I'm going to give you my number 3.
Okay.
And I'm gonna move eras here, okay? And I'm going to do so on purpose. First, I'm going to go with John Rocker.
Okay. I don't think anybody would disagree with you.
No, and partly because the 9+us VIP group in Facebook, they voted John Rocker's most overrated player of all time. Mm-hmm. I cannot disagree that he is absolutely deserving on the overrated list.
Yeah.
100%. Okay? I don't even feel like I need to justify that.
Mm-hmm.
He has a WAR of 3.5. Okay? Yeah. Literally. Also, his stint on Survivor would just probably reinforce all of... It's terrible. Although apparently there are a significant number of people who find him extremely attractive, and that's
strange.
Probably what he has going for him right now.
Maybe,
so that's great.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways.
Only bring that up because I saw it on a list. That's it. I don't know. I thought, oh, interesting. Maybe because I got to give him, I got to sandwich some positivity in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. My number 2 overrated player is going to be a little controversial. I got to go with a current player. I think current players deserve some notoriety and a place, a section maybe on the overrated list.
Okay.
It was heavily discussed in the VIP group to include not only this player but some other current contemporary players, and I got to give it to Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
I think that his one season in Miami with all those home runs and all that everything, it was the MVP season. It was awesome. It really was. And then he stumbled maybe drunkenly or whatever into this contract with New York, and I don't understand, guys.
That contract was actually given to him by Miami, and then they're like, "Oh wait, we can't afford that. We got to trade him." So,
That's what I'm saying, man.
yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I'm still confused.
Well, the thing, my
willing-
big thing with Stanton, I feel like his swing is broken. But he's
Yes,
just so
he's so-
big and strong, the ball goes out anyway. That he swings hard through like one zone, and if the pitcher happens to put the ball there, he's going to hit it out, and that's why he strikes out all the time.
Right, of course.
You know, and I don't know if it's some version of the yips because he took that fastball to the face from none other than Mike Fiers.
Right.
That, you know, that maybe he, like I said, has some version of the yips, but
I don't think so.
it's been a long time. I don't think that he does.
Yeah,
but,
it's been a long time.
But yeah,
and a whole literal identity change later.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to give him that one right now.
But no,
What I will
agree
say,
with you that
though,
he does belong on the list.
He belongs on the list, and I'll put an asterisk next to his name for sure. Like same with Bryce Harper. A lot of people talk about Bryce Harper being overrated for sure. Okay, I can get that.
Yeah.
But he's also made a lot of progress. Just in the last season, when his first season in Philadelphia, and you got to give him some props there. Yeah. So I feel like the contemporary players deserve a transitional placement, whatever, on the list. But I think Giancarlo Stanton, if he's not careful, he's going to solidify himself.
Yes.
And really, it all has to do with that contract. Because I don't think that that if you took all of his statistics and if you took all of his career and put it together, then he doesn't belong on an overrated list. He doesn't belong on an underrated list. He's kind of, he's just kind of a regular old ball player that does pretty well sometimes and has a little bit of a problem. Other times it was that one great season, but now the problem is he's on the biggest stage ever, and he's got one of the biggest contracts ever, and it's not panning out. And so he's a victim of circumstance. But if he's not careful, he's going to find a permanent placement on this list.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of the dollar sign.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem with these overrated lists is that some guys, it's no fault of their own. Like, yeah, he took the money, but it was offered to him.
Can't blame the guy for taking the money.
Yeah, and I said that Bryce Harper was overrated, but it's no fault of his own. It's simply because of all the attention he got. He was never going to be able to live up to that. So
Never.
Yeah,
I know.
And it's just a circumstance with some of these guys.
And look, they're decent ball players.
Yeah.
Right? And they're gonna probably be great clubhouse guys in the future with some significant leadership capability, a lot of influence. We all know Giancarlo Stanton's gonna have a career after baseball. We don't know what it'll be.
Right.
But the dude he's active on social media. He's building his presence outside. Trevor Bauer's the same way. Who cares? Listen, Trevor Bauer, whether he becomes great or tanks or whatever, it doesn't matter. And I don't think he'll tank, by the way. And I love Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
But he is developing himself outside baseball. And I think Giancarlo Stanton is doing something very similar. And so I think they're going to be fine outside baseball.
Yeah, I agree.
So I can't blame him for taking the money. No fault. But I mean, as far as their numbers and all that, I think Stanton is currently overrated. Now, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let me
Who's
give you
number
my
one? Who's your top?
My number one. This is my initial nomination on the VIP group's poll. Actually, is a Yankee. And I don't know if that's because I'm more familiar with the Yankees or whatever. I don't know. But Phil Rizzuto. I know that I'm going to get a bunch of backlash from some Yankee fans. I got it. But listen, Phil Rizzuto is overrated. Okay? He had one great season. One. He was an MVP one time. And that was 1950. And that's it. That's it. It took him almost 40 years to get into the Hall of Fame.
There's probably a reason for that.
That's shocking. The fact that he made it at all. He had 13 years in the big leagues. He only hit over 300 two times.
Yeah. He's a lifetime 273 hitter.
That's right. So his defense was great. But I feel like, and maybe this is the real problem. Maybe the problem is he played shortstop in pinstripes. That's a problem.
Yeah, it is. But I don't feel like you can be a 273 hitter and get in the Hall of Fame based on your defense. That doesn't jive with me.
It doesn't add up, and it's upsetting, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think the fact that he was born in New York maybe has something to do with it for its notoriety. He's the hometown boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said there. Here's the real thing. He won 7 World Series championships with the Yankees.
And all that at 5'6".
Right. 7. And he was a 5-time All-Star because of his defense. Mm-hmm. He was a Player of the Year once, and he won that MVP. But the point is, I think when you add up all his numbers, we're looking at an overrated player.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Based on everything that I'm looking at right now. I mean, he did miss 3 years in the military, and I feel like those are crucial years. Those were crucial years in his career. But at the same time, I mean, there were a lot of guys who missed because of the military at that time.
Well, and they were his year 25, 26, 27 age years.
Yeah.
So you're right. They're crucial. But at the same time, played all the way till he was 38.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of time to make it up. I don't know. Plus, the baseball was a little bit different back then, the 50s and 40s and 50s and all that. But the point is, I think Phil Rizzuto is my pick for the most overrated player of all time.
Yeah. There you go. I can't fault you for that. Don't disagree.
Thanks, man. Well, that's great because I'll just continue to boo you, and that's fine.
And that's fine. I'll accept that. I'll allow it. But let's go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, we're going to continue a brief conversation actually that I had with Kyle last week that Brig heard and wanted to get in on when I asked what should have been done with Yankee Stadium. We'll be right back.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back with me. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Shop kids' baseball shirts at 9pluss.com.
Welcome back, baseball family. In our final segment of today's episode, I wanted to weigh in on and kind of expand the conversation that Brad and Kyle had last week where they talked about Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium.
Yes, old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, old Yankee Stadium. As we all know, old Yankee Stadium is the house that Ruth built, and it was a cathedral of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the only cathedral of baseball, but it definitely was among the OGs, right?
Right. Like I would go so far as to say it might be considered the Notre Dame of baseball.
Well said, sir.
Because I mean, yeah, like you've got Wrigley and Fenway,
right?
Also cathedrals, but none of them compare to Yankee Stadium.
Well, I think I would consider Wrigley and Fenway monuments of baseball, or something equally honored, equally hallowed, because I don't want to disparage those facilities at all. I mean, I've never been to either of them, so I don't know. But everything I've heard, everything I've read, everything that I've been told is that they are just incredible and rich with history and dynamic in their, just the texture of the facility. But that's also what you could say about old Yankee Stadium. Now, old Yankee Stadium, though, just because it is what it is, it was where it was, right on the river and everything. Not that the new one's not. I know it's right across the street. But the old one was this. It was like you just, like it was this.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. It was a cathedral.
Yeah.
It's the Notre Dame. That's well said.
So, but anyways, but Kyle and I were talking last week. I asked him, just honestly, I didn't write down any of those questions. I was just going off the cuff with every one of them, and I wanted to know what it just came to my mind. I was like, what do you think they should have done at the Yankee Stadium? And I asked him because I've had an answer in my mind for when did they open the new one, in 2009?
Yeah.
So since they started construction and they mentioned that they were going to tear down the old stadium, I have been saying that they should have turned it into a museum. Like, that's been my thing forever. Yeah. Like, I'm not even a Yankee fan. You could consider me a Yankee hater. I would have loved it if they had turned it into a museum, because there's so much history there. And that's what we want to do. We want to build our Yankee Stadium Museum.
Yeah.
And Brig actually has like an extensive list, and I was going through and picking some stuff, and I was looking at the list, and I was like, yeah, that's like 90% of my stuff too. So,
well,
so let's just go through it.
So as a Yankee fan, I had to stop. I was like,
oh, and that's the thing, right? Right. Because there is so much. I know. There's so much.
I know. It's unbeatable. So here's the idea. Now, I think for me, I'm considering this in terms of bronze statues and markers on the field that that will be maintained forever. And I've just now returned from both the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum and the Louisville Slugger Bat Factory and Museum in the same trip. So and within the last 10 days. So now I'm thinking museum, and I'm thinking honoring, and I'm thinking visually about what this might be if they had maintained old Yankee Stadium and made it a museum, like you say. So what I loved about your suggestion, Brad, was that you would keep the facility as is, but turn it into a museum, and then allow people to walk out on the field and in the stands, and make it accessible. And you would have to modify some things, obviously, but then there would be monuments in each key part of the field that would highlight or honor or immortalize, I think is a great word, whatever these amazing experiences were.
Yeah, and like the big thing is, you're talking about traffic on the grass and maintaining, like, get rid of the grass. Put in turf.
Yeah.
Put in turf, pave it, whatever you want to do, but make sure you have foul lines.
Yes.
You can have painted bases, painted home plate, everything. Like, just recreate the field on whatever surface you decide on.
Yes.
And then, like you said, significant places on the field. Like, you've got, let's see, what's one that you have on here? Go ahead and pick one, Brig.
Okay.
Go through here.
So hold on. What Brad asked the two of us to do is to develop a list of just, whatever we thought could be considered to be included in the old Yankee Stadium Museum, had it been a possibility. So we have this huge list, and it's awesome. So how about let's just talk about Aaron Boone. That's a great example.
Okay. Yeah, because we both have that on our list.
Yeah, it's recent. It's easy. It's Game 7, 2003 ALCS. It was one of my games of the week not long ago. And you could just make a thing, whatever, bronze statues of fans cheering or something in left field, right? In the bleachers where the ball landed in left field during that game when Aaron Boone came off the bench and then made history.
Yeah. Well, and my thing has always been, like, find the spot where that ball landed.
Yes.
Put a seat there with a description on the seat back, and you could even put, honestly didn't think of this until just now, you could put a speaker
Yeah.
on the seat in the ground with the call.
And a video monitor, even if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. Have it right there. So anybody who either A, didn't see it, doesn't know about it, or just wants to relive it, because anybody who's there is going to want to relive it. Let's be honest. So you can watch it, you can hear it, whatever you want to do, and it's right there for you.
Magical.
Another one that I thought of was the infamous Pine Tar game. That was at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
That was the Royals against the Yankees.
It was.
So have a seat where the ball landed, but also maybe have like a display of, you're not going to get the bat probably, but you can put a bronze version of the bat, replicate it, show, this is where the pine tar was. This is why it was an issue. There was too much.
Sure.
Or they thought there was too much because it stretched here. Explain the rule a little bit. Have a monitor that shows the home run, George Brett losing his mind, and the call, everything.
You could even have George Brett in bronze like this with his hands up storming out of the dugout.
Yeah, you could.
That's all you have to do with a little thing that says this is what happened, and it just him like with that expression on his face would be amazing.
It would be, yeah. You could do either one of those, and it would be fantastic. It'd be awesome.
How about the flip?
The flip.
The Derek Jeter to Jorge Posada, 2001.
Oh,
October 13th,
Don't remind
2001. The flip.
No, yeah, definitely. You've got to have a bronze statue of Jeter going into foul territory with Jorge Posada waiting.
Oh,
for it right
yes.
there. But where do you put the ball? Do you put the ball in Jeter's fingertips?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you put the ball on Jeter's fingertips.
That makes as much sense as anything. Or how about the time? How about the time Derek Jeter dove into the seats off the third baseline?
Yeah, that would be an amazing statue. I'll be honest.
And he's like,
that would be so.
You know
cool.
what I mean? He caught that ball, dude.
Mm-hmm.
With the fans standing up and getting out of the way in bronze. Mm-hmm. Oh, listen. Just think about it. It would be amazing.
Be awesome.
You're walking around with your headsets on. Everybody has an app, right? There's an app, and you go in and you scan the QR code, or you download the app, and you're like, okay, I'm at this. Oh, what is that about? And you click the thing, and it pumps it through your phone or your headphones, and it tells you, Derek, and you watch the highlight, and you think, oh my gosh, and they tell you the backstory. And you get the full circumstance, the weight of the circumstance. No, dude. Mm-hmm. How about listen?
Yeah.
Listen.
Here,
Okay.
real quick. I got one for you. So a bunch of bronze statues could be outrageous, right? Like that could
be what?
Because if you're gonna outrageous, like if you have too many bronze statues, too many places, like it could get overcrowded.
Agreed.
And could just be too much. Yeah. So if you have like a plaque, okay, there were non-baseball events at Yankee Stadium.
That's right.
Like, let's go September 28th, 1976.
Yeah.
Maybe Muhammad Ali.
Maybe.
Maybe. Boxing. I lost it. Ken Norton at Yankee Stadium.
I'm just saying.
You put a plaque right where they had the ring.
Yeah.
Put that out there and say, this is where Muhammad Ali boxed Ken Norton.
Okay, speaking of Muhammad Ali, if you've not been to the Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville, Kentucky, you're missing the best museum I've ever been to in my entire life.
And you're not the first person I've heard say that.
Good, because it is the finest. Yeah. It is the finest cultural, historical museum experience I've ever experienced in my life. Ever.
Yeah.
I've been like 4 or 5 times. I can't
Wow.
stop going back. It doesn't hurt that the Louisville Slugger Bat Factory is like 4 blocks away or whatever.
No,
that doesn't hurt at all. But I kid you not, I would go for that alone. And it's one of the things I would say, based on the Muhammad Ali Center, is that they have ringside seats. They have a full canvas ring set up with a projector.
Cool.
So you go on the mezzanine level where you actually begin is on the second floor, and you're walking around the mezzanine level, and once you get to this canvas, there's a projector in the ceiling displaying fight highlights and interview highlights of Muhammad Ali onto a full-size canvas ring. on the first floor.
That's
below you. And then
That's awesome.
there are seats set up around them, and this is to my point, where they're red velvet ringside seats, right? Ringside seats, and you sit there at this ring, and you can toggle through. There's a little display board that comes up with a video monitor, and you can toggle through which fight you want to watch. You can watch the whole freaking fight.
That's
literally sitting ringside.
Well, and you could do that at the Yankee Stadium Museum.
You could do that.
You could have places where you can sit and watch David Cohn's perfect game.
Right.
You can
That's
watch
on my
the Yankees
list.
win any of their World
Absolutely.
Series. You can watch them clinch the World Series. You could, like the list is endless.
Yes.
Of the possibilities with games, you could just have a little spot in the concourse where you could watch.
Yes.
Right. And
Or
maybe have a stand that sells old school hot dogs and whatever.
yes. What about if you're okay? What if you're sitting there in the bullpen in deep center field and you can play Enter Sandman
That'd
and
be
watch
sweet.
Mo run onto the field on your phone or on a
That'd be
video
awesome.
board outside leading out onto the field from the bullpen? Would that be? That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
That'd be fantastic. And of course, you got to keep Monument Park.
Oh yeah,
Monument Park
of
stays.
course.
And it gets updated with the one at the new Yankee Stadium.
Why not?
Of course. Because absolutely.
How about Lou Gehrig's final
Yeah.
speech?
Yes. That was one of the ones that I referenced last week. Is you've got to have a spot that identifies Lou Gehrig's farewell speech
Yes.
for sure. Most definitely. Let's see, what else did we have on the list? Game 1.
Game 1.
Right?
That's right.
Absolutely. Was that April 18th, 1923?
April 18th, 1923, against the Red Sox. This is the first game played in Yankee Stadium, in old Yankee Stadium. It happened to be against the Red Sox. And what did Babe Ruth do? He goes yard.
Of course he homered.
He goes yard.
Of course.
Not just goes yard. He goes yard to win the ball game.
Of course he
Dude.
did. And that's why, and you know what, I'm going to say it, that's why the Yankees win so many titles, because they played so many games in that stadium. The very first game was a
Yes.
win. When the Mariners moved into Safeco, they lost. My buddy said, well, that's too bad because that means it's cursed.
Right.
And he hasn't been wrong so far.
Okay, I was thinking about bronze statues. And I was
Okay.
thinking, wouldn't it be cool if you had a bronze statue of Wade Boggs out in the outfield, riding on the back of that horse with the policeman sitting atop his horse, Central Park style, and he's got his hand in the air like this, waving to the fans in the outfield. That would be a killer bronze statue out in outfield. On
That
the
would
warning
be.
track.
That'd be
You know what I
awesome.
mean?
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I still like, I think I still like, above all, the visual that you painted of a bronze statue of George Brett screaming out of the dugout. Like, I seriously, since you mentioned that, I haven't been able to get it out of my head. Like, I want that. Like,
too.
I want that in
fact,
my yard.
maybe we can call Fathead and just get a picture that we can life size, put it on the wall, like one of those vinyl stickers of him coming out of the dugout.
Yeah.
I'd put that in the background of the podcast for sure.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, we could go on and on and on forever with this because, like we said, the history of the Yankees is extensive. But let us know what you would put in the Yankee Stadium Museum. You can comment on YouTube. You can submit to our mailbag, and we will give you a shout out on the podcast, and we'll read your suggestion. You can send us something on Twitter at baseball2gether, baseball2gether. Where else? You can
we're on Instagram.
talk to us on Instagram.
At Baseball Together.
Yep. Talk to us on Instagram. Yep. Let us know what you would like to see in our fictional Yankee Stadium
That's right.
Museum.
Also, don't forget to jump on the shop at 9plusus.com. You spell it out, NINEPLUSUS.com. You can get this Baseball and Chill t-shirt that I'm wearing right now, which is super cool. You can get
Nice.
any of the Korean baseball hats that we have. We have 20 Korean baseball hats right now. 2 for each team of the 10 that are in the KBO, as evidenced by the ones I just shoved in your face if you're watching on YouTube. And we got the one in the Korean script. We've got one in the Romanized lettering. We've got our signature Baseball Together logo that is also used for the podcast and the YouTube channel. We've recreated for the KBO in Korean and Romanized lettering, all on the same one, same design, but in Korean it says Baseball Together in Korean. So, and we have.
I thought you were gonna make the attempt.
No,
there.
I was, but I freaking hesitated, and I thought to the audacious goes the victory, and I decided to welch on the deal in my mind. So now that I feel like a lesser person, just kidding. That was a joke. No.
Well, anyways, jump on the shop. There's tons of stuff, and there's tons more coming too.
Tons.
Right? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Brig is constantly sending me pictures. Like, check it out.
Oh, it's good.
And we've had some sweet designs that we brought in. I'm excited for the future of the shop.
We just did sweatpants.
But jump on there now. Oh yeah, your sweatpants.
Okay, so
that's right.
Don't tell anybody. We're very exciting.
But with the podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Tell your friends about us. We can grow. And baseball family, we will catch you next week.